So first thing, quality over quantity.
That's what I tell my wife all the time.
She still wants both.
Welcome to the Two Authors Podcast, an entertaining chat show hosted by best-selling mystery and thriller authors Douglas Pratt and Nicholas Harvey, in lively, humorous and informative conversation with distinguished guests who share their thoughts and experience about forging a successful author career.
Welcome to this week's show, brought to you as always by Vellum. How you doing, Doug?
I am fabulous, sir. How are you doing?
Outstanding. And I discovered something, which is, I know I'm not very smart.
Oh, that's not true. You're as smart as I am, so.
Well, that's a low bar. So Vellum has a feature, which I think everybody knows about, uses Vellum, where you can select whether whatever feature you have goes in just the ebook or both ebook and print or just print. So have you ever looked in the back of your print books, the paperbacks, and looked at your author picture?
I don't have an author picture in the back of my paperbacks.
Well, you're wise because they look like shit. So when Amazon prints your print books, or even some of the other
like
people
nobody wants to see my face. So like I have a face for radio, so that's why we're doing a podcast. Nobody wants to see me.
Oh, you're gorgeous.
Oh, you
just want to squeeze them little cheekies. So I never thought of it before when I was chatting, because I was talking to a photographer friend of mine here on the island, and she's going to do some new headshots for me, and because it's about frickin' time.
Oh, so you won't have the hair, huh?
No, I haven't got quite that illustrious hair anymore. So not quite that long. That was a COVID length growth that continued. Anyway, so
I think it's your Hall & Oates picture. If you ask me,
it's pretty, it's pretty 80s hair. Yeah,
I love it.
It's someone said I look like one of those Vegas magicians.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Yes. I'm sorry, we've veered off from Vellum. So go ahead about your author pick. Sorry.
Yeah, Vellum. So I was saying, she said I can, then produce it in black and white. I said, whoa, wait a second, that would be good if we optimized it for black and white. And then I started thinking, well, how am I going to? Well, wait a second, Vellum has a feature. Why the hell haven't I been doing this for the last 6 years? Is you can choose. So I can put a picture in and put the color picture in that goes in the ebooks, just small picture, and then put another picture in and tell it just put it in the ebooks and put in a picture optimized for black and white picture in a print book.
Look at that. Yes. See, Vellum's, it's always something new and surprising.
So much smarter than us.
They are like, man, those Brads, you got to love them.
All right. A big thank you to our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for supporting the show, you guys. As always, we have a little extra that we record with our guests and dump in there for you guys. So if you want to be one of you guys, part of the cool crew, yeah. It's a couple of bucks a month, guys. It's super cheap, and there's plenty of extra wisdom in there. So take a look at that. Patreon.com.
If you give us that $3 a month, we will take that and hopefully use it to become smarter ourselves. So
we will do our best. Yeah, we'll get educated or something.
For only $3 a day, you can support these podcasters. So.
Keep us off the streets. Yeah. All right, cool. We got a great show. This is going to be superb. Our guest this week is Janet Margot, who used to work at Amazon for many years. Has been in the industry for a very long time. She runs Book Geeks Media, specializing in Amazon ads. And she is the largest brain we know of when it comes to Amazon ads. And we're going to delve in and pick her brains now.
Pick. I got my axe and hammer ready to go.
I'll try and do it with a scalpel, but let's chat with Janet. Janet Margot, welcome to the show. It is an absolute pleasure to have you here.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Fully international. So we got the Cayman Islands, we got Mexico City, and we have, where are you, Doug, again?
I'm in Tennessee, so yeah, no place exciting. Although it's a gorgeous day today. I can't complain. It's like 70, so you're lucky I'm not sitting outside, Aaron, recording this outside with the birds.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you two in the tropics down there. Like, oh, it's so nice. Yeah, it was 19 degrees here on Monday. So yeah, yeah. Both of y'all can kiss my ass. Is all I can say.
If I open the window, we get the chickens. So we have feral chickens everywhere, like every Caribbean island should. So
there you go.
All right, Janet, give us the listeners a little background on how on earth you got involved in the author world.
Okay, well, I do have a media and publishing background, but really what's pertinent to this is that I was at Amazon for close to 10 years. I was one of the early team members on Amazon Ads when it started. I helped roll it out for books. I built out the books platform. I was in marketing for that, educating authors. Then I became a product manager. When I left, I actually went over to what used to be called the Netflix of books, which is Scribd and Everend. And I was working on their book recommendation algorithms, which was really, really fascinating. And yeah, so here I am trying to help authors understand the ads, the whole ecosystem, and not just advertising, but really how to get the most out of Amazon. And I'm using some of the principles that I learned on working on Scribd's algorithms. I'm using those to coach authors who are growing and more advanced.
Wow. Nothing lights Nick's views like algorithm talk. So you're going to be in for it now. So
just say Excel spreadsheets and I'll be yours
he gets
forever.
So excited about that kind of. He starts talking about the algorithm and he gets just excited. You're going to be regretting that decision here in a minute. So.
I don't know. I mean, I call myself Book Geeks Media for a reason. It's not just about being geeky about books, but I'm geeky about data. And give me a pivot table and an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm like, I'm
oh my God. I need a minute.
Nick's over here sorting data. I'm going to sort my data right now. So
I really want to show her my spreadsheet.
I bet.
I just want to say one thing, though. A lot of people are using AI to help them interpret data, which I think is great, but nothing will replace going into a spreadsheet on your own and sorting and checking out things.
Wow. We have so different views of what the good time is. So you two can have a blast on these little. I'm like.
So you're in Excel and you go to the formula line at the top and you have to drop the cursor down like 3/4 of the way down the page to be able to see all of your formula. That's I get excited.
Oh yeah. He likes those drop. Hey, you give him a drop down menu. Oh,
All right, we've lost about everybody who was listening to the beginning of this.
Although now we have a very specific niche stuck around and go, oh, I like Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah, 3 people are fascinated. All right, let's do this way. We're going to break this down into like 3 parts, kind of where the authors are at in their journey. And we'll start off with part 1, which is, let's say I'm a newbie author. And I've got my Olympic curling romance book that is going to be just the big hit because the hockey shit is so last month. And I've got books 2 and 3 lined up. Janet's trying not to just laugh at this. So,
and you made the hockey romance people mad. All of the Google Sheets people are like,
that was 2 of the 3 that were still around, just unplugged. All right. So how do I get my feet wet with Amazon ads? If I have a newbie just coming in, first book up there, what are the things I should do?
So first off, ignore everything and focus in on sponsored products. Keep it simple. When you go into the dashboard, you're hit now with 3 different product types. Sometimes people, they get distracted by bells and whistles and all the options and stuff. You want to keep focused and keep it simple. Usually when we're talking about Amazon ads for books, we are talking about sponsored products. It is the backbone of any ad strategy, whether you are a new author, a new advertiser, or you're more experienced in all of the above. I have to say too that all the ad products are kind of funky, even sponsored products, because they weren't originally built for books. They were built for non-products. And so you can see as you start getting into it how the book nuance is a little wacky, but sponsored products is the one that is built the best for the book's use case. They had a ton of people really baking that well and, changing the recipe as much as possible. So that's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. When you're first starting out, like literally first starting out, you just want to do a basic automatic targeting campaign. Don't use custom text. Everybody asks about that. Keep it simple. No bells and whistles, no additional features. Here's what you want to do. Not only are you getting used to the dashboard, there's a lot of lingo in the dashboard. There's a lot of lingo in my conversation, but that's what it is. You're getting used to digital advertising and digital advertising on Amazon. Now, you're doing it, A, to get acquainted with digital ads on Amazon. You're doing it, B, to get your book out there. But really, you're doing it because you are validating your metadata. And this is why, even for experienced advertisers, when they have a new book coming out or a new pen name, the first thing I suggest is run a sponsored products automatic ad, because you will see two things in validating your metadata. You're going to see what Amazon thinks of your book. What connections is Amazon making with the rest of the catalog, the universe of the catalog? And if you've written an Olympic curling romance and it's connecting to some nonfiction Olympic athlete book, you have fixes that you need to make on your metadata before you go and spend money on any other ads. And when I say metadata, I'm really talking at a very basic level. I'm talking about your data you put in with your listing. That's the 7 Kindle keywords and the categories. The second thing you're doing, if it's firing correctly and you're staying within sports romance and you're not going to making these other wacky connections, then how are customers responding? You need that kind of feedback. When they see your ad, are they clicking? When they're clicking, are they converting? If not, there could be a problem with your cover or your packaging or something like that. So keep it simple, but remember, when you're just starting out, you're not just buying the awareness, you're buying data. It's a feedback loop. Learn from it.
And on the auto ad, am I right in saying, never turn that off? If it's generating data, turn it down if you need to turn it down to save money, but never turn it off, because it loses everything when you turn it off, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why you would turn it off. I always do. Okay. If you are really strapped for cash and it's going well, but you just can't afford that for whatever reason, I don't actually stop the ad. I fake pause it by dialing it down to $1 or $2 a day.
Okay. Just to keep it alive, but not doing any spend. Okay. So can I back up a quick question and ask you mentioned the metadata, and so as a beginning author, I'm just now starting out. I stare at those, and I've got 30 some odd books out. I still stare at those 7 keywords. I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to put in here? So we need to start before we do the advertising to make sure that our base and our foundation and our metadata is solid. And what kind of advice would you give to me as a newbie author when I'm going, well, what 7 keywords? Do I just put hockey romance in there, or do I put, books like Nicholas Harvey, that kind of
thing? Illegal move.
Well, that's going to screw up your auto ads if you do that. So I recommend 2 things. If you're really stumped, you can actually take your book description, which presumably you have completed that by now. You take your book description and you can just pop that into AI and ask for a recommendation. However,
well, that would have been nice in 2011. So I did that.
But wait a second, though. Here's the problem. Sometimes people over rely on AI. You still have to human validate it. And for that, I do recommend going and doing research using Kindlepreneur's publisher Rocket. I love Rocket. I use that all the time. But I also validate that. I'm also looking at that data with a critical eye. I look at everything with a critical eye, though. So
I feel seen, Janet. I feel seen. So, and the keyword is a little bit of a misnomer in those 7 key words, because you don't just have to put 7 key words in there, right? You can put words with commas between. You can put little phrases. I think there's a character limit, but
yeah, I wouldn't even waste the comma as a character. But you don't want to stuff it, But again, Kindlepreneur, I think, is a fantastic resource for that. Dave Chesson has all this free content there on how to use it. He goes in depth in how to do the research on your keywords.
Okay, so now I have got my keywords done. I am ready to do this, but I'm going to be honest with you. I am scared to death that Amazon Ads is going to take all of my money, and I'm on this super tight budget. How can I safeguard against this as a new author? What do you say to those people who are like, oh?
So really what I say, so every time people ask me questions like this, if they're coming in my free discovery calls or actually in a coaching session, when they say something like that, I have a clarifying question, which is, well, what do you mean you're really on a budget? Because that actually is different for everyone. If you really can't afford to run ads and you can't afford that experimentation and that buying information and data and feedback in the beginning, you should really consider not advertising on Amazon. And instead, you should actually potentially consider running external traffic to Amazon. Okay. The answer also depends on, and you said you're on a budget, but you didn't tell me how many books you have or how well you're selling. Those things matter as well, because Amazon ads, yes, it's pay to play, and that's what you're concerned about, but it's a data game. So if there's not enough data fueling that ads algorithm, you're going to just be kind of sitting there like hoping for the best.
This is still newbie, right? So, and a lot of the time people are so worried about it, but it won't spend your money. It's not like Facebook, which like, give me every penny. Amazon ads don't work that way, right?
Well, it's funny because I always say when we were at Amazon, we'd always have to talk about, so annoying, what's your superpower? And
we asked someone that question. It's a standard question on the show we ask at the end. We won't be asking that of you.
Wow. Janet just like, man, you just lost him on that was the Excel stuff, and now he's gone. He's just shot. He's like, whatever. It was his favorite question.
My pet question.
But I mean, this is like in a work environment. It's like, come on, Anyway.
So what was your superpower? So I'm just kidding.
I'll tell you my superpower, and I got an award for this, and it's dive deep. That's because I was a non-technical person who dove deep with engineers and into all the technical stuff. That was my end customer obsession. But anyway, superpower, Amazon's superpower. Yeah, it's a greedy company. They do all kinds of stuff that I am wholeheartedly against. Yet their superpower for authors is leaving cash on the table, because they really don't spend budget. And I've done a lot of deep dive on that too. And overall, in the aggregate, in the average across all authors in sponsored products, they're only spending like 23% of daily budgets. That's very low. So back to the original question though, first thing you do, like I said, there's no way to get around spending money to experiment. There's a ramp up time and you need to experiment. So you have to have a little nugget for that. And that could take 2 or 3 months, depending on how crisp your metadata is. But use fixed bids. Start with a comfortable default bid, but I'd say try not to go under 65 to start, because cheap bids will shoot you in the foot. And sometimes people keep trying to plug along with cheap bids because they don't want to spend money. They don't want to spend money, but they want to get their ads out. And what they're doing is not getting the right traffic. They're not getting the most qualified customers. So at least start at 65 and keep adjusting up or down as your ads go on. And then set modest daily budgets. You can have multiple ads and you can set them for $5 a day. But remember, it's a data game. It's a math game. And you're not going to go really, loud and proud with your book. But also you can set a $10 daily budget, which is better for feeding the algorithm. Put them all in a portfolio and then cap the portfolio with a monthly spend that's your real number. So you could have, this is just hypothetical, you could have 5 campaigns, $10 each, and you're like, whoa, I can't spend $50 a day. Well, we just said you're probably not going to. It's very hard to get your entire budget spent. But if you can only spend $100 a month, put those 5 campaigns in the portfolio, cap that at $100 a month, and then see, you can modify these things as you need. If your campaign's killing it and you're bringing in a little bit more money, there's wiggle room.
Gotcha. Great. Perfect. And, one thing that's really hard when you are a newbie and you've got that book out there and you're so excited about it, almost certainly you are not going to get ROI off of any ads that you run. You need more books out there, unless you happen to launch huge in some way because you've built something else, or you're a well-known personality that's putting out a book. All those different kind of circumstances. If you're your standard indie that's just getting rolling, what you're doing is gathering data, right? And to gather data, you have to pay to play. You've got to put some money in. You've got to get it back. It's a loss leader, but you're going to gather good info. So that's a great,
you break out that spreadsheet.
System. Bust that
break out that spreadsheet, baby. So
You're actually on the right trajectory when you have to break out a spreadsheet. When it's too much in your head now. When it's too much in your head, you're like, all right, I guess I gotta enter
Fill in
numbers
those
somewhere.
cells.
Yeah.
All right, let's step up. Part 2. So I'm an established author with a series of books out there. I've been had them rolling for a few years, and I'm making money. Let's say I'm on the brink of going full time, or I've gone full time. It's adult money now that's involved in the process. If I've been running an auto ad and I've been running some targeted ads for a while, where do I go from here? What am I looking for in the data, and what data am I pulling out of Amazon? Because there's layers of stuff, right? When you go in there, it can get confusing as hell. So give us some direction there.
So I think you should have already been going really deep into your data. So I think you're kind of looking backwards when you ask that question. Sorry, Nick.
That's standard. That's pretty much standard.
Now, in Nick's defense, he's got that spreadsheet. I, on the other hand, do not. So, yes, you can talk to me like that.
So here's the thing. You should have already been going into the data. I can tell you things like, okay, look for strong converting targets. Keywords are ASINs. Consider moving them in their own dedicated campaign. But there's actually like a long list of those things. There's all different kinds of strategies that you can add on. And you should be looking for those little nuggets where you can add on. But I just want to say you have your core growth that you're sustaining and you're getting consistent sales. You're getting consistent organic sales and you're getting consistent paid sales. That means through the ads, by way of the ads. But now you want to start to build out incrementally. It's not going to be a big hockey stick. You're going to be building out incrementally. But at this point, if you're really looking to scale, I think you need to focus on your flywheel and your Amazon flywheel now. So here you can be at a crossroads where it's not totally about your ads. There's been a lot of algorithmic changes on Amazon in the past year or so, but really in the past year for books. They rolled out algorithmic changes in other parts of Amazon, but they're always slow to bring them into books because there's such excessive nuance with books that there aren't with other products. So I think there's two key things here that you need to go back and look at. One of them I mentioned earlier is external traffic. That flywheel, the flywheel as I actually show it, includes you have your KDP listing, you have your organic traffic, you have other customers coming in, like the customers are actually engaging with your book now on Amazon. Then you have your Amazon ads, and then you come around and you have, sorry, people can't see me like doing a circle on screen.
She's making a circle.
I'm making a circle like a flywheel. And then you add third-party external traffic to it, and it makes that circle spin faster. Okay. So you want that external traffic coming in. And I've always said that, but the thing is with the algorithm changes in the past year or so, the big part is that Amazon's rewarding that external traffic. And why does it reward that external traffic? I will tell you, because you are pulling in more pre-qualified people to your book. You've already attracted them on these, on Meta or TikTok or BookBub or whatever. People are already interested in your book. They come to Amazon. Amazon has their data profile because like everybody has an Amazon account. Amazon has their customer profile. They take that customer profile and they're building the profile for your book. Data game. You want that profile really solid. So you're helping the algorithm do its work. It keeps spinning faster and faster and faster. Before I go over, do you have any questions about that? Before I go over to the second thing that you need to focus on. Next, Amazon's algorithm has changed in the past couple of years. The core retail algorithm has changed. It's gotten a lot smarter. It's no longer like the old A9 algorithm that was very search and response. A10 is a lot smarter. And then there's 3 layers basically of the algorithm that's working before it even hits ads. You have A10, you have Cosmo, and you have Rufus. So you need to check all your metadata, all your listing, all your packaging, and make sure that that's compliant against like 15 dimensions. That's very different. So your metadata now is expanding. All those algorithms are taking different pieces of your metadata. And so you need to feed that When you are at that crossroads now where you're doing well and you want to do even better and you want to grow, you want to make sure that you are feeding the ads algorithm, but you are also feeding the core 3 retail algorithms.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Rufus is showing up more and more, and it's becoming more, I call it invasive because I think it's a pain in the ass. So it's becoming more invasive on the buy pages, and you hover over things and all of a sudden Rufus options plop up and stuff.
So here's the deal with Rufus, though. Rufus, I don't really consider it, and I'm not sure that it's technically considered an algorithm. It's more like a surface layer. It's like your personal shopper or personal concierge that's layered on top of A10 and Cosmo that are working together. And Rufus is like your little dog. Rufus was the first dog at Amazon, dog-friendly work environment. It goes and fetches. So it comes and you put in a request for something, whether it's in the search bar or whether it's actually in the Rufus little widget. You put a request for something. A10, which is like the accountant, that comes in to answer your request. Then it couples up with Cosmo, who is like the psychologist, and it's looking at the reader intent of what you were looking for. And then Rufus comes in and says, all right, I have all this data that's in my database here from the accountant and psychologist. I'm the bookstore clerk, and I really know what you're asking for. I'm going to kind of validate this, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to look at things like customer reviews, see what the real people are saying. And I'm going to give you your answer on a nice silver platter. That's Rufus.
See, Rufus is trying to help you out, Nick, and you're being all... He's not a dog person, Jane. I'm sorry.
So I have a side question about A10, because we keep getting told by folks that A9 was the company that developed the original algorithm, and it's been around for years. So and that's just been built upon and built upon and built upon. So A10 is just really a term for the latest change, right? It's not really, is it really a spec of algorithm? I don't think it is it?
What do you mean a spec of of algorithm?
Well, they haven't said, here's the rollout of the A10 algorithm. They've just kept building on the original algorithm. And
they keep building on it, but A10 is like it's V1, V2, V2, right? Like that, A10 is just the latest version that has massive AI in it. So we always had machine learning, but now it's seriously intelligent. And A10 is what is the accountant. And it's just getting to be a really smart accountant. So it's looking at the numbers. So when it's trying to fulfill a search query, it's basically looking at all the numbers. It's what the engagement is. And engagement used to be very surface level, and it's gotten a lot more complex now. For instance, what's the dwell time on the page? How are people adding this to the wish list? Are they adding it to cart? Are they actually purchasing it? Because an add to cart is not always a purchase.
No, my wife adds everything to the cart.
So do I. And then I save it for later.
I don't know. I got to go through and save it all for later because she's got 700 different, mascaras in there to decide which one she wants. So
I would never share my Amazon account with someone for that reason. I have a whole process. Don't come mess it up.
Sorry. Thankfully, my wife's not listening, so otherwise she'd probably scowl at me and be like, what?
With respect to the algorithm, though, a lot of the core algorithm, it's the same stuff. It's just getting weighted differently, and it's just a little bit more deeper, and it's smarter. That's really what it's all about. There's still, even in the ads algorithm, there's still the same core dimensions that they're looking at. It's just getting deeper and more layered, and they changed the weighting of it. And that's really what happened last year on the ads algorithm, is they changed the weighting of things.
So this may tie, it may not, but okay, as I'm looking at my ads, I've got some ads going, and I'm getting ads and I see them all the time that don't get any impressions. What should I do? Should I up the bids on them? Should I just wait and see what happens, or just start all over?
So it depends. So if it is the cold start, if it's a new book, do you have a cold start? Does it have enough data? Does it need organic sales velocity in order to feed the ads algorithm? In that sense, you may actually consider the third-party ads again. But then to your question, up the bids selectively, right? You want to go through and curate. You just don't want to say, okay, I'm going to up everything to 85 cents or whatever. Make sure that you're also giving it time. So we don't want to look in 2 days to see what's happening. We do want to see it taking off. but it's not going to, be gangbusters. The other thing is that if you're using fixed bids, you can consider doing dynamic up and down. That's a lot of people are seeing success with that. But I wouldn't do dynamic up and down for a brand new author. I guess we're in the use case of the established author. If you have the data, then do up and down, because then Amazon's going to be smart when it's doing the dynamic bidding. If you don't have data, it won't be so smart.
Gotcha. And fixed bids is actually kind of dynamic down anyway, right? It's not fixed as in this is the only bid it'll put in. You can spend less on a fixed bid, right?
You can spend less. There's two things. When you go into auction with a fixed bid, the number, let's just say I'm going in at 50 cents, which is considered a pretty low bid now for newer listeners. I'm just using that because it's just an easy example. You go in at 50 cents. I have fixed bids. It means that when I'm sourced for a customer coming along, Amazon's ready to serve an ad. They're pulling a pool of people. They're sourcing ads to potentially show for this customer. If I have fixed bids, they're pulling in my 50 cents at the auction. But if the person that I beat is only paying 45 cents, they're only going to charge me, my cost per click is going to be 46 cents because it's a second price auction. So basically you put your bid in and then auction magic happens. And then there's the CPC. The bid transforms to a CPC at auction. For dynamic down, so fixed is not the same as dynamic down in that for dynamic down, the dynamic is the magic that Amazon performs at auction. So you have 50 cents. We'll use the same example. I go in at 50 cents. I'm sourced at 50 cents. But when Amazon's playing around and it does its magic and you're all ready to go into the auction, it says, I don't know that this customer has a propensity to buy this book. So I'm not going to put you in at 50 cents. I'm going to put you into the auction at 45 cents. And then what happens? If I don't have a lot of data on my book, I may lose the auction and not show the impression. That's the problem with dynamic down if you don't have a lot of data. If you're a newer author, dynamic down can shoot you in the foot. If you're an existing author, that might have been a smart decision by the algorithm because you have a lot of data on your book.
Okay. That makes sense. So the more you have, and that just goes back to the more data that you're giving to Amazon, the better that it's going to have, the better results it's going to have. So,
and that data can be coming from organic, from your regular business, unpaid business on Amazon, or that data can be from the external traffic that you're pushing into Amazon.
I have a question here. So am I right in saying that even if you're willing to spend the highest bid, it doesn't guarantee that you'll win those auctions, right? There's a lot of other factors that go in there, which is kind of what we often refer to as relevance, yeah?
Yes. Relevance is a lot of things now, and that's something that has gotten the weight. That's something that the weighting has really changed this year on the relevance formula. So they are really looking at the customer. This is how I break it down. It's not the technical term, but they really are looking at the customer profile and the propensity to buy even more than they did before. Relevance used to really more heavily rely on where you are in the browse tree between you and the target. So that's changed a lot. And that's one reason why now more than ever, it's really important to feed the algorithm, feed the underlying retail algorithms, because they're looking more at customer behavior and all the data of the conversion and how much money Amazon's going to make off of it, basically.
Right. And slightly more important than bringing people into Amazon to your buy page is bringing people in that do buy.
Yes.
Bringing junk in is not going to help you.
But it's unlikely that you're really going to, well, I won't say that's stupid to say. I'm not going to say that because some newbies actually might bring irrelevant traffic into Amazon.
Yeah, if you're running a Facebook ad and you've got the wrong image on there and it's just sucking in the wrong people, they're clicking over into Amazon and they're like, what the hell's this? This is I was looking for the naked girl calendar.
Exactly. No bait and switch. But this is why I said it's really important for you to look at your flywheel. Every component there needs to be spot on now.
I got to get me a flywheel.
You have a flywheel.
I need to find my flywheel.
No, you have one. You have one. The flywheel and your funnel, right? The funnel is part of the flywheel. You have different funnels that are feeding it, but we don't need to get into that.
I feel like there needs to be a little drawing that goes with it too. I just
visualized it in my head. Funnel over the top of a flywheel. Like chucking stuff down the funnel into the flywheel.
Let's talk targets. So like, I've heard some people say, oh, you should only have 20 targets. Or I've heard other people say, nope, have as many as you want in any particular ad. What's the magic number? How many targets per campaign? Should I go keyword or ASIN? What's best?
Okay. So first thing, quality over quantity.
That's what I tell my wife all the time.
She still wants both. Carry on, Janet.
So there used to be really bad advice that some fool announced to authors everywhere. And people used to say, dump a ton of targets in there. So that was based on the maximum limit of targets that's allowed in a campaign. And that's just spaghetti on the wall, foolish advertising. You don't want to do that. Now, remember, we were talking about earlier about Amazon leaving cash on the table, and my old number of 23% of budget is consumed in the aggregate, in the average across the whole author base. That number's probably changed slightly, but I don't think it's changed a lot. And this is why. How I phrase it is that the algorithm is lazy. Now there is a technical like lazy loading term. That's not what I'm referring to. I mean, when you create a campaign and you have 20 targets, 30 targets, 50 targets, 100 targets, doesn't matter the volume. I would bet, and I come from a gambling family, but I don't really gamble, but I really would bet on this, that you will never see more than a small percentage of those serve meaningful impressions. And this is why. Amazon goes in when you start your ad, ready to take flight. Okay, this person has budget. They have some bids. We got to get this sucker going. They go in and they grab a handful of those targets and throw them out there and see how it works. And they kind of never go back and grab in a meaningful way again. So whatever targets are taking off in the beginning, those are the ones that are going to take off. Tell me, and I'm happy to take cursing emails from anybody who says I'm completely wrong on this, but I have never once seen it where all of a sudden some other target, target number 20 down there, all of a sudden starts taking off 2 weeks later. Doesn't happen. You always have a core set that is powering the campaign, and then all these stragglers that aren't doing squat.
Does the algorithm go for the low-hanging fruit? So it decides, hey, these are probably the better bang for the buck and serve them, or is it indiscriminate?
I wouldn't say better bang for the buck. I can't say that because that would imply that they're going to convert better. Sometimes you'll just see that you have a campaign with a bunch of targets in it, like a hockey one or a romance one or whatever. And then it's just going to really serve on the keyword books, right? That's not necessarily going to be the highest converter. Now, the algorithm is getting a little smarter with that because of the customer profiles, but I don't want to digress over there. The bottom line is smaller campaigns with more relevant targets. So when you're segmenting your targets into campaigns, you want to have like with like. So for instance, I keep using this example in my course. I'm working with a friend who has written a gothic horror. I can't say that word, a gothic horror with romance. And when I do campaigns, I never
gothic horror romance.
It's not, no, it has romance. With romance. There's a romance in it. So when she's doing these thematic campaigns, she will have the more horror focused gothic stuff in one, and she will keep the romantic gothic romance stuff separate in another one. You don't commingle. So it's the like with like. It helps the relevance, and it's easier when you look at your dashboard and you're ready to optimize. You can more quickly see what's actually working rather than having the commingled. But I keep my campaigns small. I don't go big.
Gotcha. When you say small, like 10, 20?
I usually do like 10. If you're going to add various match types, you can go up to 20. It's just doubling that, right? That counts as a target. If it's the the target itself combined with the match type counts as a target. So I keep it small. It's easier to optimize. It makes it more relevant. It keeps the campaign healthy. But these people come to me, especially after doing multiple ads challenges. And it's like, oh my God, we have to do rehab. We have to completely redo this whole dashboard now.
So smaller campaigns. How many campaigns though per book would you say?
There's no number of that. I wouldn't say. You always start with the auto ad. So you're always going to have that one. And then you should get into the manual and keep building on it as you need. So, it also depends how much budget you have. It depends what's happening, right? And with algorithm changes now, like some of the long tail keywords that are very specific, they're not really serving impressions. It's some of the more general ones. So you have to kind of see like, what's the whim of the algorithm these days too? How strong is my book? How strong is organic? All those questions. So if anybody tells you 5 campaigns or 3 campaigns, it's like they just pulled that out of their butt, quite frankly.
That's stinky advice. Look,
it's a technical term.
Yes. All right. So I've got an ad. I've been running this campaign. I've got 10 targets in there. 2 of them are doing really well. The other 8 are just not doing anything or not that great. Do I shut off the 8 that aren't doing anything for me? Or do I take those 2 and build a campaign of successful targets? Or what do I do?
Your campaign is successful with those targets. Keep that campaign the way it is. Don't touch it. Just like we don't excessively pause ads that are doing well, you don't want to kill that campaign because it's very hard. When targets are working well in one campaign, it's very difficult to replicate them in another campaign. Instead, when you take out that dead weight, examine why it's dead weight. So is it just that Amazon was lazy and it didn't go in and pull those? Do you think they're really relevant? Take them out. And you can even, like, let's say that you have a comp author who you think should be a killer target and it's just not taking off. Do a little what I call a micro-targeting campaign. Take that comp author and just put that one target into a campaign. You're telling Amazon, I want to throw cash at this. Make it work, baby. Get it in there and target it and see if you can get it to take off. You may want to add, instead of just one keyword, you might want to have a couple variations on it and have something take off with it. But you've got to test and validate the dead weight in another campaign. But if it's crap, if it was a long shot, I don't know if you want to bother with it or not. It depends how much money you have to play with.
And then kind of same question for the auto ad. So I'm going in the auto ad and this keyword is doing well for me. And this ASIN down here is doing well for me. Do I start another campaign with them? They're doing well in the auto. Do I try and start another campaign?
Yeah. Keep it in the auto. But anything good that you find in the auto, also do go in there and now create a manual because those are different beasts. And, things different campaign types are getting sourced for customers under different conditions. So it's okay to take something. Now, it may not have the same, you may not replicate exactly. So if you're getting great ROI, you're not going to get that same ROI on another campaign. But a lot of the growth in Amazon ads does not come with these big nuggets. It comes incremental.
Fantastic. All right. So time's ticking. So we're going to move on to 3. So I'm now a successful author. Just imagine I know it's hard to imagine looking at us two, but imagine that we're successful authors with books and experience under our belts. We've been running stuff for a while. We've got budget available. We're ready to start scaling. We want to go, we want to be 7-figure guys now. We want to go from 6 to 7 figures. What do you feel? What's the best path to go down?
So the first thing is the same thing I said in part 2, which is go look at external traffic that you're driving and feed the new algorithms, feed Cosmo, especially with the 15 dimensions. Make sure you are on point with everything. And that includes make sure you have, Cosmo's actually going and Rufus are both reading customer reviews. Cosmo and Rufus are reading A+ content. So make sure everything about your packaging, front end packaging on the detail page and back end packaging metadata, make sure it is on point and feeding the algorithm. That's the first thing. Make sure that you are leveraging external traffic to build that customer profile. So you're getting now the benefit both from increased organic towards those 7 figures and better ads. Then you want to start scaling with like adding international expansion if you haven't done that. Don't just copy your existing ads, but make sure you have local insight, like you have the right words and, it's not apples to apples across marketplaces, even across English speaking marketplaces. You want to make sure that you're doing sponsored brands at the right time. You want to make sure that you are doing brand defense and making sure that, I'm not coming in as a new author and stealing traffic from you. You also might want to work with a professional just for coaching. Don't outsource entirely, but just for coaching. You might, if you have the money and you really want to make bigger steps, you might want to start working with AMG, which is the display ads team. There is like a 30,000 minimum buy. I think it's 30 now. I don't know. Sometimes it's on sale. And start running display ads. You want to be running sponsored display ads as well through your dashboard and do some retargeting. So people who have looked at your book and didn't buy, pull them in. You really just want to make sure you start getting all bases covered.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's step back because there's a few things covered there. So one thing I want to touch on is, and one of the questions I had is this a time to seek help? Hire somebody to do this. And I know in the past you've helped authors with running ad campaigns and stuff for them, but I believe you're moving kind of away from that. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't like running ads for people because I am not part of their team. They are not willing to pay really what it takes for that investment. Ads is a long game. It is a long haul for learning. It is a big investment. And I think you should really learn to fish. I don't want people over-reliant on me. They should know how to do it. When I say they should know how to do it, if you're an author and you're like, that's crap, I want to write. I do not want to be in an ads dashboard and looking at data. That's fine. Bring somebody in-house who can do it. Make sure you have a really trusted partner. Ads is so huge, you can't always rely on an outside person or agency to do it. It's tricky as an agency. It's tricky running book ads for people. If you remember, there's been a lot of Amazon ads agencies that come in and leave the author space. They go really hard and they try to onboard authors all the time. I don't want to name a bunch of these companies, but they've come through. And I've talked to them personally and they're all like, man, it's not worth it because running book ads takes a much bigger investment than running ads for toothbrushes. Much bigger investment. You have to bring that in-house to make sure that somebody is really spending the right amount of time on your ads.
I gotcha. So, and when you say in-house, doesn't mean they have to live in your house. It doesn't have to be a full-time employee. It can be a VA or something like that, but it needs to be someone who's got the aptitude towards it and the will to put the time in. Because it is, it's tricky from both sides of the fence. We talked about this off air a little bit. From the author's point of view, we want to write books, and Amazon ads are immensely time-consuming. So from the other side, for people that are trying to run ads for authors, like you said, it's hard to get paid adult money for doing the amount of work that requires doing.
Yeah. And quite frankly, I've run ads for people. They're paying me a certain price. That's the price they're willing to pay. I mean, it's an agreed upon price, but what really needs to happen in there, like, you're not paying me for that, man, because it's a lot. Also, me personally, I come with extra expertise. Like, you're not paying my hourly rate. It's just not worth it for you. It's not worth it for me. In terms of bringing it in-house, you can use AI as your co-pilot. There's a lot of ways. It won't totally replace a dedicated ads person, but you can really start to move efficiently and smartly if you are going to leverage AI tools to understand your ads and optimize your ads.
Is there one that you would recommend pointing toward or that you think is more efficient for that?
I don't want to recommend a specific tool because it's not really the tool. It's about the prompts.
Yeah. And I was going to say, if you recommended one, it'll be a different one in 3 weeks' time, right? When they update. So,
I mean, it's important because that's for sure. Whatever I thought, well, which one did you recommend? So yes, it's always good to know that is really the thought is they're all tools and you just kind of know how to use them. So,
And there are some companies now that I can't think of the name of the one that I have in my head right now. There are some companies that are trying to build AI tools specifically to run ads. So you can outsource them to a company that's using AI. But again, I don't think anything replaces the knowledge that you or somebody on your team can have about your catalog.
Let's talk for a moment about you have a course coming out that's available, correct? And tell us about the other services you have.
Yeah, I just started launching a course this week. I'm still dropping content into that course. It has a foundation section that I want everybody to take. And then there's a track A for newbies and a track B for more important people. But I'm asking everybody to get aligned with foundations as I see them. Because, when I'm talking about book ads or when I'm talking about Amazon, it's a different conversation than other people out in the wild. I need to make sure that we're all speaking the same language. So I have those 3 different tracks. The foundations is priced super, super cheap. So the point of this is to stop saying the same things over and over to all my clients.
Yeah.
But I still have coaching available, and I have a bespoke packaging depending upon what your catalog is like. And I do free discovery calls. And so if people have questions about should they do are they a better self-service candidate versus a coaching candidate, you can book a free 15 or 20-minute call with me.
You get to talk to you. It's delightful too. So,
thank
I'm just
you.
saying.
Yeah. Get to hang out with the
You can talk spreadsheets. So you're like, hey, it's spreadsheets are going on, and might
exactly
20-minute call.
Well, what I really like to talk to people about is what's their why? Like, why are they doing this? What do they hope to get out of it? Because, there's people that will come to me and they've written one memoir book or one nonfiction, but it's going to be a lead magnet. They're building a whole consulting flywheel. That's a different use case than somebody who has a big catalog and they're really a commercial genre fiction writer. Different solutions for people.
Absolutely. And you're at bookgeeksmedia.com. You can find out all the resources there. Is that right? It'll be in the show notes. Janet, this has been brilliant. We could keep you here all day. This is
Thanks for having me.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
We'll have to have you back because we barely touched on half the stuff we wanted to talk about, I'm sure. So.
No kidding. We'll do it again. Thank you.
That would be fun. Anytime.
Well, are you ready to go work on your Amazon ads?
No, I need a nap.
No shit. That
Holy
was
cow.
Drinking from a fire.
That was that was, and we didn't even barely touch on everything. But man, I thought I knew a fair amount about Amazon ads, and I feel like I realized how much I don't know about them too. So
there's little bits and pieces she drops in there at different moments where you're like, wait, what now?
I'm going to have her coach you would probably be phenomenal. Like that's exactly what you need. Somebody who's going to teach you how to do it properly.
And it's interesting that she's shifted over from managing people's portfolios to, as she says, teaching them to fish. It makes sense. And it is tricky because no one's going to care about it more than you. And for some folks, it's very daunting, uninteresting.
Oh, well, I mean, I find it uninteresting. So
yeah, it's a challenge, but that's when you can start to look. I mean, if you're starting off and you got your day job, right, and you're writing on the side and you're trying to grow, and you don't have the resources to spend lots of money on ads, and you don't have lots of money to spend on getting someone in to help you. Looking at like her course or someone's course like that, or maybe even getting a little bit of coaching to teach you to fish is a great way of getting over that hump and the daunting task that it is when you first venture into the dashboard and go, what the heck is going on here? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I think that you could take away is like oftentimes we wait, I've written 1 or 2 books, but I don't have the money to do it. And really, if you start early, even if you're not doing a big spend, then you are gathering that data, you're gathering that information, and you can do it for maybe $5 a week. You can do $1 or $2 a day, and it's not a lot of money. And you're not going to spend it all.
As she said, Amazon, it's a sensible platform. It doesn't just go rampant with your money. So if you set the parameters right, and I've been, as we try and pass things on to, we both of us get contacted by new authors or a friend's like, hey, I've got this guy just written a book, or a girl's just written this book, and can they talk to you? I'm like, yeah. Because I certainly had people that mentored and helped me when I started, and I try and pay it forward. And one of the things I always tell them when you're starting off, start an auto ad, set it low. Then auto ad, don't ever turn it off. And it's honestly, over the years I've been doing this now, my Amazon auto ads on average are the best performing ads I've ever had on average. Now, they weren't when they started, and I don't expect them to. And I tell people, don't expect anything. It has
but
to.
But they're a data gatherer, so yeah.
It's trying to find a place to throw a line in the water and get a bite, right? And it's going to do that for a while and gather data, and then finally it's going to start getting some stuff on the hook, and then it's going to way too many fishing analogies there. So anyway, Janet. Thank you so much, Janet, for coming. And bookgeeksmedia.com is where you'll find her. It's in the show notes. Huge thanks to our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting the show. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, make sure you check it out. There's a really great question we've asked her. So you want some more information from Janet? This is the time. Yeah.
There's some more gold in there in the Patreon. So it's cheap, $3 a month, and you get all that extra stuff we throw in there. Help support the show, as well as our fabulous friends at Vellum, who are fantastic at supporting the show.
We love Vellum.
Keeping us on the air. And I got a little backstory on Vellum and their sponsorship here. They are the first person that we reached out to and said, would you be interested in supporting the show? They're the one and only person we've reached out to for it. Fortunately, they said yes.
Yes.
But there was a reason. We started with the company that we felt that we both used, we both loved. And we're like, I want our show to be associated with that company because we love what they do. Unfortunately, it worked out. So little behind the scenes for you on that.
That's right. We do try. I mean, even the people we talk to on here are people we want to either learn from. We're not trying to hawk, the next gadget. So,
No. If we want to know, you want to know. And that's how we go about it. All right, guys, we'll be back next week for a new episode of the Two Authors podcast. So until next time, be cool to each other.
Fair winds and following seas.
You've been listening to the Two Authors podcast with Nicholas Harvey and Douglas Pratt. Subscribe on your favorite platform for new shows coming every week.